Hey everybody, this is iLad, and I would like to welcome you back to my Starmade tutorial series. In this series of fairly short videos, we're going to be exploring mostly Starmade logic systems, but also Starmade ship systems, and introducing people to the wonderful world of making really interesting crap in Starmade. Alright, so in our last little adventure here on this testing platform, I went over the basic functions of different rail blocks, but I did not get into some of the more advanced stuff. In fact, there was one bit of even the basic info that I left out that really should have been in there, and that is how to use rail dockers. So right now I am in build mode inside this core right here, and you can see from the little red and green and blue arrow up on the top which way it's facing. Blue is the bottom, green is the starboard side, and red is the port side. Although, actually it doesn't appear that it's rendering exactly the way that it ought to, but whatever. If I come into my inventory and I grab a rail docker, what I'm going to do is I'm going to slap a rail docker really anywhere on this, and it can face in any direction, but there's an important consideration to keep in mind when you do this. So the orientation of the arrows there on the face of the rail docker tells you everything about how it's going to be oriented when it actually docks on the host structure. So, first of all, this, with the arrows, that is the face that will attach to the face of whatever you're docking to. Secondly, the arrows will orient in the same direction. So you can see that these are pointing that direction, these are pointing that direction, so this whole thing will be sort of twisted around and oriented so that the arrows line up perfectly, which we can test by saying, alright, let's put that there, yeah, sure. That should occupy this space right here, and this angle between the docker and the floor. So let me skip over to flight mode, and you can see that I can move even though I have no thrusters or power, but I don't have a whole lot of control over the flight. Use shift to stop. If I hit G, I can open up my menu of different functions the ship can perform, and I need to drag docker down to my hotbar. Now with it selected on the hotbar, I can simply press left click to dock to a target rail. Now that that's done, I can hop out, and we can see that I was right. The logic control that I dropped in there is exactly where I predicted it would be. So knowing that, that's going to allow you to make sure that things attach the right way and everything is oriented the way that you expect. It's a pretty simple function. It's reasonably intuitive, but I wanted to be sure that I covered it, since the tutorial doesn't leave stuff like that up to intuition. Hopping back into build mode on the actual station that this is docked to, let's talk about some of the stuff that we have not really explored yet. Alright, so here's a little feature I never actually talked about. In fact, I've had to go back and re-record this a couple days after the rest of this video. And that is how to control the rotation of a rail rotator. So let me go ahead and create a docking on this. Whoops. Hello. Try that again. Yeah, sure. I don't care. And let's go ahead and slap a little block on this to give us some directionality. There we go. Alright, so now this block is very clearly pointing in a direction, right? Alright, so basically I can rotate this block in a number of ways. One of the easiest ways is to go ahead and set up like a button or some other kind of a signal, and set that next to the rotator. Link the button to the actual rotator you want to control. Then every time I click the button, it rotates 90 degrees. Yeah? Easy peasy. Okay, so there's some other stuff I can do with it. For instance, if I take the rotator and I connect it to an activation module, which is turned on, you see that it is rotating only 45 degrees at a time now, right? So when you set up this this link between the rotator and an arbitrary number of activation modules, each active activation module is going to count for 45 degrees of rotation. So 45, 90, 135, 180. When I press this, this should do a full 180 instead of just rotating 45 degrees. Boom, right? If I want to do a full circle each time, yeah. And if I want it to rotate indefinitely, that's 9 activation modules, all linked to the original rotator. Good? Good. So one of the rails that I did not go over would be the rail unload. And let's see, let me do this in an intelligent way. Let me drop down a rail speed controller. We're going to control the rail that we're currently on. Also going to have that linked to a wireless logic module, nope, to an activation module, which currently is turned off. Yeah? Yeah. So I can go ahead and I can put down this rail unload, and it won't actually move onto that rail. Okay, cool. To demonstrate how this thing is going to work, I need to go ahead and get a storage block attached here. The storage block is going to be, is going to be connected as a slave to the rail unload. Right, so that's C on the rail unload and V on the what's it thingy, the storage controller, storage container. Sorry, my words are not really moving smoothly today. You can see that this is set to pull. I'm going to go ahead and change items to auto pull. I'm going to add all. I'm going to add, I don't know, 2 at a time, something stupid like that. Up to 100. Why not? Okay, so this is going to be searching for anything and everything. I'm going to be honest, I always get these backwards, like which way goes which direction, unload to load, right, and vice versa. So I'm just going to go ahead and drop in one item there so that I can demonstrate it even if I get this wrong. Gonna hop into the docked entity now. I'm going to drop a storage unit on that. I'm going to have that set as a slave to the rail docker. So C on the docker, V on the storage. Once again, I'm going to go in here. I'm going to change items to auto pull, add all. This is just for testing purposes. Once again, this time I'm going to choose the white light. Put that in there. All right, so here's the basic idea here. Rail unload and its counterpart rail load, which works the opposite direction, is going to shift cargo from one entity to another. Now, there's a number of things that have to happen here. First of all, this rail docker has to actually be sitting on the rail unload. Currently, it's not, which is why nothing is shifting, right? With the unload, what I think happens, and I do get these backward from time to time, what I think happens is that it will move from the docked entity into the base entity, right? And then the rail load should work the opposite direction. So one thing that's got to happen, like I say, is that these have actually got to be connected. Second thing is you have to turn it on. So if I hold down tab, it opens up this pie menu. If I go into inventory, nope, not inventory, my bad. If I go into station, load unload rail setting, I have it set to always allow, yeah? And then in the docked entity, it'll be ship, because it's not a station, it's a ship, right? But unload always allow, right? Okay. So, if the settings all allow it, And there are different settings you can use, and you can play around with those on your own time. And if it's all touching, and if I've set everything up correctly, then we should be in business. And there's the white light from the docked entity. So, let's see. I'm going to rig this up. I'm going to actually craft a rail loader. I will be right back. Alright, so now I've got a couple of rail loaders. So I'm actually going to set this up so that it will change this to rail loader, and you should see both of these items disappear at the end of a tick. Oh. Okay, so there we go. It's changed over, or should be. At the end of this pull tick, both these items should disappear. Pop, and then if we go into the docked entity, you can see that they've shifted there. So, yeah, awesome. And then I'm going to once again slap down a button, controlling this. And next to unload. Hit that. And we've got them back again. Yeah. So by changing the items to auto pull, you can set filters. So it only pulls certain items. By setting the pull up to number, you can set how many. So you can, like if you're looking to create a kit for a specific purpose, you can say, you know, pull 8 activation gate modules, but only 1 activation gate controller or something like that, right? So that's an option for you. And then, you know, you saw what all I had to do to set this up. So if you want to break it, it's insanely easy to do so. Half the time, you know, you'll break it without meaning to because you hit the wrong thing at the wrong time. So very easy. On the symbols here, the square represents the docked entity. So the unload pulls stuff out of it, and the load pushes stuff into it. Yeah, so there's really no excuse for me forgetting it as easily as I do, but there it is. I do. But anyway, there's rail load and unload, and that's crazy useful sometimes. So now we've got some business, you might say some unfinished business with these transparent rails. So we talked about pickup rail quite a bit. It works just like rail basic, except that it's intangible. So when you're in astronaut mode, yeah, let's see, let me just put one on all sides of the build block so that when I pop out here, you can see that I can't see them at all, and I don't collide with them at all. Now, the flip side of that is I can't target the build block through one either. You see, it's not until I get up over the top edge of it that I actually get the inner build block option. But in general, in all other ways, they're completely, like, not even there. So I think by now, if you've seen the previous video, you understand how to use those. What we have only briefly talked about is pickup point, and haven't talked about at all is the shootout rail. And the shootout rail is where things get a little bit on the interesting side. So basically, when a block hits the shootout rail, it's going to accelerate very rapidly. It's going to zoom out in the direction that the shootout rail is pointing, of course. But when it gets to the end of the shootout line, like I could have, a number of these. When it gets to the end of it, it's going to automatically detach and just keep on going in the direction that that's pointing. Which makes things all kinds of interesting when you accidentally do that. When you're trying to build something and you just sort of whoopsied it. Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and set the rail speed controller back up again. Just so that I have some measure of insurance. Because I don't actually want to do that by accident. Okay. Let's go ahead and drop in the shootout rail. Oh no! Okay. Well, that was useless. Anyway, it doesn't shoot out with infinite momentum, so, you know, there's that. So delete the one I'm in. Enter the one I'm here to pick up. And then in flight mode, fly back and try this again. As I approach here, you can see that the shootout rail, incidentally, is also intangible, just like the pickup rail. It's invisible. You can pass right through it, etc., yada yada. So this is, again, like there's limited uses for this. It's very useful when you are attempting to launch a shuttle, for instance, if you want like rapid deployment. You can use it to launch projectiles that you built out of blocks. Escape pod kind of dealios. You can use it for trolling, I suppose. Probably be the biggest way. It's not super useful other than that. Yeah. There's something I wanna try and see if I can get working right though. This is something that I've seen sort of played with. So we have this one specific use for it that might work. Let's see if I can get it working here. Alright, so here we have the space station entity with these three blocks, these three rails on it, right? Over here, I'm going to add a new entity. Let's see. Yeah, I'm going to create docking right there, And then just drop the core over here out of the way somewhere, I don't really care. Zip into that. And on this, I'm going to this, yeah. Now to align the pickup rails, is always a bit tricky. I've explained this before, but I'm going to explain it again just for sake of complete explanations here. You see that most of the faces, or there's a ring of faces around the sides that are pointed the same direction. Like it's the two. Treat this line here like an arrow pointing in that direction, right? So these two are both pointing to screen right? And then this one that they're pointing to is pointing in a different direction. Right now it's pointing sort of up, relative to the platform. Now it's pointing back toward me. Now it's pointing away from me. Right? What you want to do is you want to get the ring of ones that are all pointing the same direction. You want them to point at the line of rail that you're trying to attach to. So let me see if I can make that happen. Okay, right now they are, right? And then you want the one on the top face to point in the direction that those rails are moving. At least that always works. Or, well, I can't say always. Usually works for me. These have been a major pain to deal with since they were introduced, but they're also one of the most useful tools in all of Starmade, so, we suffer through it. Alright, so that gets that set up on the docked entity. Now I'm going to jump back into the base entity. And I'm going to do the same thing. And I think this is all that's needed to get an auto dock transfer to work. I think. If this all works right, what's going to happen is that this is going to shoot off one of these, immediately attach to the other, shoot back, just kind of jump back and forth. This may not work properly, but we'll see. And then I'm going to build a backstop so I don't have to do quite so much work to track it down. afterward. Sometimes this works. Sometimes it yields unexpected results with the physics engine. So, you know, well, we'll see. We dig that one out. So we have our light. Okay. Yeah, I'll pop out of there. Once again, you notice the rails are intangible. Okay, and if I maneuver close enough to a pickup point... Whoa, okay, whoa. That did not work as planned. Okay. Alright, so we're going to hop out of there. Ooh, okay, align to that so I'm not flying wonky. Open the spill block. One thing with the pickup points that I had not previously discussed is you can actually turn them on and off, which is also a very useful feature. So go ahead and get some logic down in here. I'm going to set an activation module controlling the pickup point. It's on now, it's off now. We'll leave that one on permanently. Up out of there. Okay, just get this close enough that it should attach. Pop out. I'm going to watch this from a third-person perspective. Oh, that's weird. This is not what it's supposed to do. What is this? I don't know what's happening. Okay. Okay. Tear down this backstop wall, which, by the way, did work-ish. Just gonna raise this up. Okay. Jump into here. What in tarnation? Mm-hmm. Okay, not real sure what's going on, but that appears to work. Alright, let's see. I don't understand what's going on with this thing either, actually. Undock. It's probably some kind of a rail desync issue. Just pop up with depressing regularity, actually. Turn this off. We're gonna try fresh. Okay. Sure, just like that. Uh-huh. Am I lined up? That's pretty solid. Pretty good, pretty good. Alright, hop out of there. Get into my build block over here. Turn this on. Yeah, that's just not moving, is it? Yeah, this is a desync of some sort. I'm pretty sure of that. This result actually doesn't surprise me because one of the biggest uses of automatically docking and redocking stuff is to completely screw up your game. Usually a reset, like a restart, fixes it. I'm trying to do this the lazy way, just going back to the main menu instead of all the way back to desktop, and that might be where part of this problem is. It does look like I might have completely shot my whole save though. So I hope not. I had projects in the works. Alt F4. Boom. And after resetting all the way, like completely shutting down to desktop and then starting back up again, we're going to see how this works. And it's just not moving. Again. Well, I've really borked something, haven't I? Hey. Okay. Alright, look, I'm going to remove that shootout rail. Let's see if we get into cargo here. I'm going to remove that pickup point. I'm just going to see if a one-way transfer can be forced here. It's what I have. Like, if this had worked automatically the way I expected it to, it'd be a really fast clock. Well, not really fast, because the pickup rails are pretty slow. They move at normal rail basic speed. Still, it might have been unwise to try to do a clock like that. Anyway, we're gonna see if we can get something to work here. Oops. Okay. No, nothing. Still nothing. This is docked, or I wouldn't be able to jump into it that way. I'm guessing it's not going to let me undock either. Nah. No, it's not. So I eat it. Jump back in here, create docking. Whoops. Sure. That was dumb. Sorry, let me place that. Oh, it did let me place that. Look at that. Oh, look at that. It did the transfer. Then it shot it back. It bounces. Okay, the bounce is not normally part of the process. Sorry about that. That's so awesome. This game is so broken. Okay. Oh no. No, come back, please. I'm begging you. That was great. Okay. Am I in astronaut mode? I don't think I am. No, I'm not. Hey, we got it working. There was very definitely, and I'll replay it here. There was very definitely one actual transfer. Just the one, because I had removed the pickup point from the other side, but so that's proof of concept. Good luck to you if you try to actually use it in production. That's what I have for advanced rails. It's really more advanced than the game engine is prepared to handle. I mean, if we're being honest. So yeah, don't rely on this to work. What I've found over many years of playing Starmade is basically the more you mess with things automatically undocking and redocking themselves, the more you're going to run into gameplay ending errors like that. It's unfortunate, but there it is. When possible, you want to dock stuff or undock stuff, or both, manually when possible. I'm not saying you got to do it all the time. I'm not saying that automating it never works. The more automation you have, the more rapid it is, especially if you quickly undock something from one entity and then redock it to something else in a short amount of time. You're going to run into places where the game just can't keep up with you. So just be mindful of that. That's my last tip for advanced rail stuff. There's still one rail block that I have not covered at all, and that is the rail turret axis. Guess what the subject of the next video is? I will say that on that note, let's see, let me make a point here. Let me change this to sideways rail so I can keep using it. Check this out. Like, we've got all our rails, right? So there's rail basic. We've got our unload rail. We've got our load rail load, whatever. Yeah. We've got our rotators, which I'm not going to put down because I don't want it to try and rotate. It's just going to lag. And then we've got our rail turret. And you notice how every one of these can float. Oh, yeah. We've got our pickup rail. Doesn't matter what kind of rail you use, right? It flows one to the next. Same thing for shootout rail, but I'm not tracking this thing down. Watch what happens when I put down a rail turret axis. Absolutely nothing. These are grouped with rails. They're not properly rails, so that's why they're going to get their own video. But that's coming up. This whole thing, it's an entirely separate system, really. The only thing it has in common is that it does use a rail docker. Everything else is a totally disconnected set of rules. So we'll explore those next time, and I hope you'll stick around for it. Thank you for watching. I hope this was entertaining for you. I hope it was instructive for you, because after all, it is a tutorial. and yeah, I hope it didn't put you off too much to see how, well, I mean, honestly, how broken some of the rail function is in Starmade. It's well worth learning to use it, though. It is a lot of fun when it works right. Sometimes it's a lot of fun when it works wrong. But, your mileage may vary. But I hope to see y'all next time. Thank you so much. Y'all take care. Bye-bye. Hey guys, thanks again for watching. If you'd like to support my channel, consider purchasing a channel membership. We've got very, very low monthly rates, and your support in that way would be gratefully, gratefully accepted. Thank you so much for considering it. Y'all take care. Bye-bye.